welcome to the Talkin podcast presented by Chief of Staff Kansas City. I'm Malekai, and this is Malekai's Minute. About the Chiefs-Broncos game, we could have brought our A game, but want to know who did bring his A game? Harrison Butker. He literally had more points than Patrick Mahomes in this game. More points than Patrick Mahomes. Has that ever happened? I don't know. I don't think so. And do we think that was going to happen? No. Did we think the Broncos were going to beat us we're going to be in front of us till the fourth quarter? No. But we ended up winning. Clinched a playoff spot. That is something big. And Le'Veon Bell, of course, did see more action due to the CEH questionable came out situation that we had going on. So he definitely got some more use in this. And if you're wondering about the Chiefs-Dolphins game, well, it's Mahomes and Tagovailoa. I've been looking forward to this. Honestly, at the beginning of the season, it's been 3 years since these teams have faced off. Chiefs ended up winning 2017, probably going to win this year. And both teams have new quarterbacks. And both those quarterbacks have gone to different teams in different divisions. So it's been a huge trade. Now that the Dolphins can finally find their winning record, they might make the playoffs. We might see them in a divisional game. We might. We actually might. So, this could be a huge playoff implication game no matter what happens. For Miami, Kansas City, no matter who wins or loses, this game will affect both teams. So, yeah, it's going to be a close game. My prediction is Chiefs 38, Dolphins 17. Our defense is going to step up. Allow one more point than they did last Sunday night. We're going to have a good defense. So, this has been Malekai's Minute, and back to you, Emerson.
Welcome back to the Talkin podcast, brought to you by the folks at Chief of Staff KC. This week, we're joined by the folks over at Chief of Staff KC. You all know Bryce.
Boys are back in town.
Yeah.
The boys. I'm just kidding.
You all know Bryce Shepard. He's been on the show a couple times, but this week we've also got our president, Casey Wright, in studio with us. Bryce, good to have you back. Yep. Casey, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Well, the Chiefs survived a weird win on Sunday night against the Broncos, moving to 11-1 on the season and clinching a playoff berth. So we'll talk about the best catch that never was, our fantasy picks for the playoff push, and our preview for Week 14 against the Dolphins this weekend as well. But first, we're bringing you our positions of the week, brought to you by Chief of Staff KC. Your trusted local talent scouts will bring you the best accounting and finance, HR, admin, and operations, as well as sales and marketing.
There you go.
So that trips me up every week. But we'll bring you the best talent that Kansas City has to offer. So rather than going to Lucas, we're going to let Casey take it away with a position that's hot this week.
All right. We've had a lot going on. Position of the week, I'll say, is a controller job we're working on for a life sciences company. Heavy revenue recognition, real fast growth company. They've doubled in size in the last couple of years and looking like that'll continue in the future. Have a couple direct reports. Ideally, combination of the biosciences and maybe some public accounting to start the career. But great company, great people to work for. So, cool. Awesome. Anybody, send them my way.
Awesome. And then on the operations side, we have a sales engineer role we're working on as well. Need to have a degree in some form of engineering with a knack for building relationships and just being a little bit personable, and then wanting to go into the sales side of engineering. It's a local company here in town, located downtown, and looking for more of an entry-level person as well. So if that sounds of interest, let us know. But Lucas, you can take us away on the Talkin Shop side.
All right. Well, thanks for being here, boys. I know we've talked about having Casey in all year long. We finally made it happen, and we've heard this story a million times. We probably heard it yesterday. We'll hear it again tomorrow. So but I want Casey, if you'll give the rundown of your career and kind of the steps leading you up to taking over Chief of Staff and bringing us all together as a team.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll try and give an abbreviated version. I can get a little long-winded, and as you all say, you've heard this for a long time. Yeah. So, like most people, I didn't grow up dreaming of becoming a recruiter. It wasn't this lifelong goal of mine. Kind of fell into it. I think that's the vast majority of people who know this industry. Studied psychology in college. Loved being able to help people out. That was huge. I wanted to get into a role where I could make a difference. And I always say your house, your spouse, and your career are probably your three biggest decisions that you have to make in your life, and we get to be really influential in one of those. So it's very rewarding. You know, it allows you to use your competitive juices, but also make an impact in people's lives. So I started doing it about 15 years ago. Worked for a few different firms. Took a year off, 18 to 19, which is great. Took 12 months to travel with my wife and 2 little girls. Then joined Chief of Staff. Had several different options. Looked at a lot of different things, including even talking to Lucas's uncle up in Chicago about an opportunity. And that's how I met Lucas. His uncle's a mentor of mine, and used to work for him back in the day. But I met the founder, Chief of Staff, Jesse Underwood, and we hit it off. We realized we were very aligned philosophically and morally. We didn't have that much overlap professionally, though. It was very complementary. So instead of starting something from scratch on my own, I said, let's take over something that's already got a really good thing going on and take it to the next level. And main reason was the culture. The culture is awesome. You know, Emerson and I spent a year together talking before joining and realized that we really aligned on things. Met Bryce right before I joined. I was like, this team is exactly what I want to build. And I've got the years of the expertise and know the industry. All these guys here are a heck of a lot smarter than me. And I try and surround myself with people smarter than me. They like to make fun of me for my technological deficiencies. And I know that if you're not going forward, you're going backwards. And so I needed this generation around me. You know, I was the young guy for years, and now I'm the old dude. And so, but I know that, and I recognize that, and I need to surround myself with the best people. So I think we indisputably have the best team in town, no question about it. You know, I say we place people, not paper. And I think the industry has gotten more and more to butts and seats, where you just check a bunch of boxes and look at a job description, look at a resume, and see what matches up. And I don't like that approach. I like finding people that are going to fit the team, fit the culture well. We work with all different types of companies, all different sizes, all different industries. And we take the time to get to know them. We get to know our candidates really well. We get to know our clients really well. And we know that there's a home for everybody, but it's not the same home for everybody. And just because on paper they meet the requirements of the salary, the years of experience or whatever, there's so much more than that. And I think by building such a cool culture and team internally, we attract that with our candidates and our clients, honestly.
Right. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. So I guess follow-up question to that, and we had kind of talked about this the last time we were all together, but I guess right now, as you know, local businesses are looking towards 2021 and their plans for Q1, especially after such a tough year with 2020, having a brand new budget, you know, kind of sweep the year under the rug and look forward. You know, why do you think it's advantageous to talk to companies like Chief of Staff right now to plan for next year, but then also why Chief of Staff specifically? Why do you think we go about things differently? Why do you think we're a good partner for local businesses?
Well, I think we're Kansas City's firm, you know, honestly. I truly believe that. I've said this for years, but this industry to me differs more market to market than just about any other industry. You know, you do manufacturing, you do it here, you do it in Texas, you do it in California. It's all similar processes, similar styles. The recruiting business, it's all about understanding that market, that culture. You know, I've got a very robust network nationwide of other recruiters, and it's very different how they do it. You know, I've got a friend, you guys all met him the other day, in from Omaha, runs a firm, and just how they charge, what their competition looks like, their process is completely different. That's only a few hours away. Yeah, we're all Kansas City natives. You know, we know this market extremely well. It's not by accident that we've built a team that covers the whole map of Kansas City. You know, it's not just all the same people. We all have different styles. We all have different backgrounds. We all have different connections. You know, we're big enough that I think we can service anybody in town. I know we can, but we're also small enough that we can be agile and we can pivot. So I think that's a lot different. I think a lot of the large national firms do it the exact same way, one market to the next, and I don't think that always translates, honestly.
I agree.
Sure.
And just to kind of piggyback on that, just in terms of the industry in general.
Sure.
Obviously, this year has been a very difficult one for our industry, kind of at the mercy of the market and everyone hiring. And Bryce, you can chime in on this as well if you'd like. But I guess how do you see the recruiting industry kind of changing moving forward after such a difficult year? Obviously, you talk about 2008 being a setback as well, the most recent one that can compare, and then coming out of that, things changed. So, one, how do you think things are going to change for the industry moving forward? And then how do you think Chief of Staff stayed focused and continued to hit our goals this year?
Sure.
And how are we set up for success moving forward?
Well, I think what we've all learned is you have to be adaptable. This year, everyone's adapted. We have clients now that are going through the entire interview process, start to finish, virtually. But we've got people that have been working for months now for clients of ours. They've never even met their boss, their colleagues in person. A couple years ago, that would have been completely unheard of.
Yeah.
That would have been completely unheard of. And I know a lot of companies struggled to get on board with that.
Yeah.
Both clients of ours and other companies, but also others in our industry. They didn't understand the work from home. I mean, we're all still working from home. I know that's not the norm, but we're making it work.
Yeah.
And so I think you just have to be adaptable. And I think we are. I think we've adjusted. Like I said earlier, if you're not going forward, you're going backwards. Yep. And you've got to be able to pivot. Every client's different. Every scenario is different. And I think if you just take the exact same approach and try and make it work, that's the definition of insanity. You're gonna be banging your head against the wall.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think how we wrote it out so well is we stayed active. I know a lot of people that just like, oh crap, the sky's falling. I'm gonna
Keeled over.
Yeah, keeled over. I'm gonna go hide at home and climb the bottom of a bottle or whatever it is. And I say, you guys stay active. The first couple of months, were we closing a bunch of deals? No, but we were talking to a ton of people.
Yeah. And we pivoted. Do you
and
remember
we pivoted.
that?
Yeah,
Real quick.
we helped out. We made introductions. We call ourselves Kansas City's Talent Scouts.
Yeah.
We know a lot of people. We connect a lot of people. Obviously, we get paid fees for placing people in jobs, but we're a heck of a lot more than that. We make introductions all the time, and we joke around a lot. But we got a client in the janitorial services industry, and we were asking a lot of clients, when we were first calling, like, I hope you're not calling to see if we're hiring. No one's hiring now, unless you have somebody come disinfect our office. Well, we know some people that can do that. We'll make an introduction. We're not doing it for a revenue stream. We're doing it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was kind of our civic duty to help slow down the spread of this disease.
Right.
So.
I think one of the biggest things that set us apart too from other firms is I feel like we did it first.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
And a lot of times, some firms or even companies, just from a grand scheme of things, might change. But by the time they do it, it's already too late.
It's too late. It's a copycat.
Yeah. And I felt like we've always done a good job of being innovative first. And so I think that's one of the reasons why we've kind of developed one of the best reputations in town, if not the best reputation in town.
Well, and some of my vision when I first took over in June of 19 has evolved. And if I was so dead set in my ways, we're just going to do this and we're just going to do that, I think we would have gotten passed by. But the truth was the demand became very different with the pandemic. There are certain jobs that wasn't necessarily going to be our focus from day one. But if I would have been stubborn about it, or we all would have been stubborn about it, we would have gotten passed by. We realized, well, okay, these aren't as hot right now for XYZ reason. And these types of jobs, these types of companies are. Well, we went with the flow, and we've got a creative enough team. And we all work so well as a team. And that's the other thing is you see, everyone's competitive, but competition's good to a certain degree. You got to be competitive with each other instead of against each other. And a lot of places I've seen, it's very cutthroat and it's us against them, even internally. And we don't have that at all. We don't have that one iota. And so it's like, all right, hey, you need to help here. Well, let's carry the weight. Jump on and you can pivot from this. And that's what we've done, and that's what we'll continue to do.
That's one of the things I just respect about Kansas City in general, and not just in our industry, but across industries as well. I mean, you saw during COVID a lot of different companies teaming up to work together to try to give back. And and
that's the other thing is, and you guys know, I've made a big effort to create strategic alliances, and I love it. And I've always been big on networking, but I'm in a spot now where I can network with whoever I want, and I'm not stepping on toes. And good people are good people, and what goes around comes around. And a lot of times people are like, well, why are you meeting with them? Why are you doing a coffee with that woman, with that man? I'm like, I don't know, because somebody recommended I meet with them, and I value the person that told me that. Yeah. And then I go and I meet with them, and it's 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degrees removed. But then it is business for us. But I do believe in karma and helping people out. And so it's not that I'm just focused on, even though finance and accounting and recruiting is my specialty. I meet with people from all different walks of life and backgrounds. And then sometimes it does create opportunities that we weren't even anticipating. We weren't trying to get. So.
Right. Well, as you guys know, the next section, well, maybe you don't, I don't know, but rapid fire questions. Every week, shout out Joel Goldberg for giving us this, right? And maybe you can forgive him one day for throwing the dart in your wall.
No, never.
And then signing it.
Signing it.
Oh, geez. But yeah, so we ask every guest and guess that you'll have your first down, which is a success that led to sequential success, a sack, a recent setback that you had to overcome, and then a Hail Mary, Patrick Mahomes style, lofty goal you either had for this year and accomplished or you have for next year.
Sure.
So we'll start with Casey, and then we'll have Bryce go right after with the first downs, sacks, Hail Mary. So recent first down, Casey.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, like I said, we're all primarily still working from home, but we did a big, photo and video shoot for the, preparing to launch a new website. We're super excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
We just hired a new person. We got 10 people on the team now. So yesterday was her first day. Welcome aboard. We're super excited about Abby's future here.
Yeah.
And also, I gotta give a little plug here. We've had 0 turnover since I started.
Yeah.
That's unheard of in our industry. A year and a half, we've had 0 turnover, and we've doubled in size. Which during this year, that's pretty insane. We look around town, you look around, the nation, and our industry is getting hit hard.
Yeah.
We haven't had to lay anyone off, no furloughs, no one's left. I don't know what better example I can give for how good of a squad we got right now. But so that's a first down. We all got to get together, socially distanced yesterday, did a bunch of outdoor video shoots and stuff. And I think it was great camaraderie, great chemistry for going to the next year.
Especially having worked from home for so long to see everyone.
It was exciting.
Yesterday was so needed.
Yeah.
That was great. Hell of a first down. Bryce?
Yeah. First down. So I guess it could kind of be a setback too, but we actually just got a new CRM or ATS, I guess.
Yeah,
sure.
And so just learning all that, I think it'll be a huge, benefit moving forward once you get it figured out.
Lead to further success.
Which is kind of why it's, probably a setback at the same time is just the time that's going to be involved in learning all that and retraining our brains for the new processes and stuff like that, the new workflow. But no, I'm really excited about it. I think, like you said, it'll lead to a lot of headaches or relieve a lot of headaches moving forward.
Right.
So
definitely,
it's a pretty sweet system.
It is.
I've just got in. I'm just starting to play around.
We'll hold Casey's hand.
The options are limitless. I'll need a little help. So.
All right, what about a sack?
Sack. Trying to avoid sacks as much as possible. I'll try and get out of the pocket and throw it away when I can. But you never know. Sometimes you think a search is going to go super smoothly. We've got all sorts of candidates. It's going to move quickly. Set it up, knock it down. This is great, and it just doesn't happen. It's sometimes out of your control. We picked one up a few weeks ago that I was super excited about. The client's a guy I've known for years and years, and he's gone MIA. I don't know. I hope nothing has happened. But that also makes you realize that you can't put all your eggs in one basket. You gotta get out there, and this might look great, but even once you fill that job, you gotta have your pipeline full. And so those sacks lead you to continuously to go out there and do more business development. So,
Reaffirms the process.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Bryce?
Well, for me, working from home was honestly a sack. Especially when we have the culture we have in the office. Like I fed off of that on a daily basis.
Agreed.
And so really there at first it was kind of a struggle to figure out how to do that and do that effectively. I feel like I've gotten a lot better with it. But ultimately, being in the office moving forward is what's going to be best for my success. And it's different for everyone too. That's the thing. But for me specifically, I want to be in the office. So that was a little bit of a sack. Still working through it, but I think moving forward, like into 2021, being back in the office will be huge move.
100%.
So.
No, we had to adapt, and I'm sure you guys all felt the energy yesterday, just between everyone in the office. So that was fun. Hail Mary.
We've done a lot of cool things this year. Despite, we moved into a new office, doubled our square footage. We got the coolest office around. Everybody knows that.
Yes.
We've grown the team. We've put in a new ATS system, about to launch a new website. So I feel like all of this stuff is kind of Hail Marys. Any of those one things is a big thing in a year, let alone all those things in the year of a pandemic. Right. So that's pretty amazing. But I have to say, the biggest Hail Mary is we've got a trip plan for the whole company. If we hit our 2020 goal, and knock on wood, we finish out these last couple of weeks like it's looking like, and we'll make it, which that's the goal before we knew the pandemic existed.
Right, sure.
So that's pretty darn impressive, in my mind that we're still on pace to do, what was a lofty goal for really my first year at the company. And I can't wait to take that trip with everybody. It's a good blast. Hopefully we'll be able to do it soon, but willing with the pandemic and whatnot, and that'll be great for team building, camaraderie, and a little motivation.
That's a great Patrick Mahomes Hail Mary that Tyreek definitely caught. Catch. So, Bryce?
Sure. So I would just say with the goals this year, we kind of reevaluated once COVID hit and reset those goals, but I still set it pretty lofty. And I'm right there on pace to hit it. So that, I think when I originally said it, it's kind of, I don't know, we've been joking the past couple of days about manifesting it, but a lot of times whenever you set goals like that, sometimes people don't really, plan on ever accomplishing those.
Sure. They're too lofty.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe the first one I set was a little bit too lofty for first year in the business at first, but, I've had a lot of success. And I think I would surprise myself at the end when I'm like, wow, I'm not too far from
looking back. Man, it's
Get your swagger going, buddy.
There you go.
So be confident in yourself.
I think moving into next year, just building on that and doing even better. So
hell yeah, those are great. Those are great.
Love that.
Well, you want me to go and roll with it?
Chop it up, baby.
It's time to chop it up. We've talked enough business, right? And we'll always continue to do so, but let's talk a little Chiefs. So, last week we hung on to beat the Broncos on Sunday night on a very weird day in the NFL, and that was such a weird game. I just didn't have the greatest feeling throughout, which is weird as a Chiefs fan, right? We're so blessed just having this amazing nucleus and team that really carries us every single week, week in and week out. But, with all that being said, what were your guys' thoughts on that game? And with that, time's yours.
Well, I've told a lot of people this recently. I'm a big KU basketball fan, and the Chiefs of the last few years remind me a little bit of KU basketball in the sense that they're supposed to win every game, and they get the knockout punch from every single team that they play. And KU's been accused of it plenty of times, and rightfully so, of playing down to their competition. They'll go out there and they'll wax the best team around, but then they'll play somebody that they're supposed to trounce, and they let them hang around. I feel like the Chiefs have been doing a little bit of that, a little bit of sleepwalk mode.
That's interesting,
some people are like, that's just because they're waiting for the playoffs to pull out their bag of tricks. Maybe. I'm not sure, but yet I'm not nervous in any of these games. Right. It's like we're gonna win.
It's frustrating more than anything.
It is frustrating.
I'm more mad.
Every once in a while I just want to put my feet up and crack a beer and not worry about it. I'm like, come on, you're stressing me out, guys. I know I don't need to be, but you're stressing me out. So I think we let them stick around. I mean, I'm sure we're gonna get to it, but that Tyreek catch, and I'm calling it a catch because it was a catch. I've been a diehard football fan my whole life. I cannot recall a single time that someone clearly caught the ball and didn't argue it. Now you see everybody argue everything. And I mean, basketball, they argue every foul. Now with the replay, I'm aging myself here. I have different opinions on some replays, and but it's like every single time they're up there and they're complaining. I review this, even when it's clearly not a catch. No one said anything.
Right.
And then my thought is they punt too fast. A few years ago, I think Andy Reid would have been crucified for that.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been like, Andy Reid mismanaging the team, or like they talk about. Well, now that he's got that ring, it's like, it's okay. We'll get another one. No one seemed to complain quite as much as they would in the past. So that's a good point.
I remember watching that live. Like I was like, I expected the ball to kind of bounce through the back of the end zone. I'm like, where did that go? Wait, he had it in his hands the whole time. I'm like, why didn't they look at that? I was screaming.
And he genuinely had no idea. That's the funniest part. He had no clue. Just sitting the ball.
He fell into it.
Yeah, his post-game press conference, he's like, I've never had a player tell me they didn't catch the ball. I was like,
exactly.
Now Reek is going to be running up. I caught it on every catch now. So we'll probably see some absurd one, but
Bryce, what about you, man?
I mean, I feel like I say this every week, but as Chiefs fans, we are truly blessed.
Oh my gosh, yes, we are.
It's a situation where if Pat has the ball to win the game, we feel pretty confident. Whereas the other side of it, Drew Lock, I think he's a Kansas City native too, so I don't want to say too many bad things, but
at least I'm in it.
And so when he had the ball with 2 minutes left, driving down the field, I wasn't worried. I thought we had it in the bag, and I feel like it's nice to watch Pat out there because you never have to worry. Like you were saying, he's going to take care of it. Whereas you see other teams in that same position against us, and unless it's a handful of quarterbacks in the league, I'm really not that worried that we're going to pull it out if we put ourselves in the position to win the game late on. So
I got to give a little love to the Honey Badger too.
Oh yeah,
I've told a lot of people that's in the past 20 years or plus, he's my favorite Chiefs defensive player.
I agree.
Eric Berry.
I like Eric Berry a lot. I've been fortunate enough to meet both guys a few different times.
Yeah.
Eric Berry's a nice guy. Nothing against Berry. Tyron, though, is that nice of a dude,
Yeah.
too. And he's got a huge heart. And
Community leader.
Community leader.
Didn't you meet him, or he served you food, or was that
Yeah,
another Chiefs player?
I went to his charity event last year,
yeah.
and he literally went up and hugged every single person, thanked them for being there. It was just genuine.
Yeah.
You felt it.
Of course.
I think you got to give a little love to Katie in our office too. She's a diehard LSU and Chiefs fan, so
Yeah.
that's her all-time idol.
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think, for a couple games there, we kind of felt that Honey Badger looked a little lost out there. Like, he wasn't playing with the same intensity and aggression. He got a pick last week, got 2 this week.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he's getting on the right track. And again, this defense, they're really good. It's like, I don't know. They don't really get it all together until the home stretch. And so hopefully we're starting to see that. Because they played really well. Like, Tyron had his best game of the year with a 93.6 grade.
Yeah.
He was the best graded behind. Like, I think Mahomes was right under him.
We need
this
that
week, so.
resurgence from last year. We just got the ball rolling, and then it led into the playoffs, which hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, we're still like the 2 things I'm worried about are our red zone offense and our defensive line, and just the lack of pressure that we're getting.
on the
Chris
quarterback.
Jones has played out of his mind. Chris, you're doing great, but Frank, we need you to step up a little bit.
Besides that Raiders game,
So I've been having a debate
Yeah.
with our good friend Jared Keneally for the last
Yep.
few weeks
Yep.
about Frank Clark, and I brought up the other night, we were at a happy hour. I said, for what we're paying that guy and for what the expectations were, I want to see more out of him. He's like, you're crazy. He's like my favorite player, and he loves him.
diehard.
He's diehard Frank fan. So Jared, let's hope we see some more out of him.
Yeah, and again, I was listening to I honestly think that if he shows up in the playoffs like he did last year, has a game-ending sacks and is a playoff presence, and we're paying him that much. I'm fine with that. If he doesn't show up in the regular season, that's okay with me. But show up in the playoffs when it matters, we'll be all right. So.
I got Willie Gay that just moved in down the street from me too. So
Nice.
So I'm gonna go give him a little pep talk.
He's been playing a lot more lately.
He's getting more love.
Yeah.
He's getting more love.
Yep.
But yeah, let's get into fantasy, and then we'll wrap up with the Dolphins preview. But I mean, did you guys make the playoffs at all? How'd your teams do?
So I'm playing against my best friend of 20 plus years in the fantasy first round of the playoffs. And,
There you go.
And sorry, Shark, I'm not gonna take it easy on you, even though you're recovering from COVID right now. But I got Lamar, so you never know what you're gonna get out of him.
Right.
It could be
This
6
year,
points or
yeah.
50 points. I'm obviously hoping for the latter there. I got Chris Carson going for the Seahawks. He's one that I think is just right there, ready to have a monster game, but he's been dinged up most of the season.
Yes, he has. Yeah.
And then who's been my rock when he's healthy is Thielen. That
Yeah.
guy gets so many targets. I'm like, he's just a touchdown waiting to happen.
Yeah,
He
man.
gets so many looks. So I'm feeling pretty good about my chances.
Good.
I like it. Yeah.
about you,
So
Bryce?
Bryce, do you have a team at all, or are you
No
just
fantasy football for me.
Oh,
Pretty basic, yeah.
Nice.
You're pretty basic.
You're saving yourself some stress.
I would agree with that.
I got 3 teams. One didn't make it. I just missed the 6th spot in the playoffs for the last one. It's the cheapest league, so I'm like, all right, whatever. It's not where the money's at. The second one, I am the 3rd seed facing the 6th seed in the first round of the playoffs. That's the one I'm most excited about. I have the trophy sitting at home, and this is my run it back tour, so we'll see. I'm pretty happy. I had Christian McCaffrey as my first draft pick. I made it to the playoffs still by picking up some people off waivers, so that'll be fun.
There you
4th seed in my other league. I'm the 4th seed. I've already made it to that first round. They do like a 2-week playoff schedule. Dominated last week, but this week I'm down by 30 going into the second leg. So I got to have a monster week by a few players. Thielen's on that team, so we'll see what happens there. And then we'll just do like the quick starts.
Yeah,
I have a couple starts. Jamison Crowder, Sam Darnold is back. So Jamison Crowder actually picked up some great points last week, but it's the Jets still. So I'm always concerned. Like, terrible team, but he is his safety net for Darnold. So that'll be a good start in a flex spot.
Yep.
Brandon Ayuk, I picked up Deebo Samuel and started him last week. Don't do that. Start the young gun, Brandon Ayuk. He's getting a lot of touches, and he's looking great. So go ahead and get those 2 started in your lineup.
Awesome. And then on my end, I have 4 personal teams, and then I manage a 5th one for a girlfriend from college. That one, the one that I manage for her, is the best one that I have. It's nuts. I have Tyreek and Travis Kelce, and then Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
So they've just been holding the team down. But my other ones, I went 2 of 2 playoff wise for my other one. And again, when you extend yourself as much as I am, I'm happy with
See
that.
what kind of stress you're
performance. But,
dodging?
Yeah, a couple players that come to mind though. Cam Akers from the Rams has been doing phenomenally. Actually, Henderson's been doing well too, but Akers has been getting the ball more, so that might be someone to look into. Kiki
QT.
Yeah, from the Texans. Now that Will Fuller's suspended, he's been getting a lot more
I had
looks.
Fuller too, damn it.
Brian Cushing, their strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
Heads.
And then one, if you're in a dynasty league, might be a good stash, or maybe if you didn't make the playoffs and you just kind of want to mess around with it. But Jalen Hurts from the Eagles, he's their starter now. That might be someone to look into.
I like his game.
I've always loved Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
I think his story at Alabama is just phenomenal,
Yep.
coming in and winning that for Tua. And I don't know. I would love to see him
I'm a big
succeed.
Hurts fan now.
But yeah, we'll see. Doug Peterson, we'll see what he can do. But looking into Week 14 here against the Dolphins, friend of the show, Ryan Fitzpatrick, is no longer leading them, as we
Correct.
discussed at the beginning. Tua is going to take back over. Obviously played against the Bengals, had a thumb issue, but it's not as serious as we thought.
Yep.
But I think the Chiefs know their way around that stadium pretty well.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Spent some time there in February.
Stealing one of my points for
Yeah.
later on. yes, they do. Yes,
Sounds vaguely familiar.
What do you guys first thoughts for this game?
Well, I nothing against Tua, but I've always liked Fitzmagic. How do you
Yeah.
not like him? I think mostly that's just beard envy. I'm not sure, but he's
got a
a
hell of a
stud.
beard.
Dude's been
Yeah.
around for forever. He's my age, and he's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a caricature, but he just goes out there and dominates a couple of games a year. But Tua's the future. I mean, Tua's a stud.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dolphins defense has been killing it, but I'll take our offense over anybody's defense. So I feel pretty good.
See, I'm not a Tua believer, honestly.
Okay.
Not yet. I think he has the potential to be there, but I think he's still mostly unproven.
Fair.
I think as long as the Chiefs do what we need to do, there's nothing. Even if the Dolphins play great, as long as we do what we need to do, I'm not too worried about the game. It's just a matter of as long as we can get pressure on the quarterback, get him moving, young quarterbacks, get him out of the pocket and stuff like that. But I don't think Tua's our biggest issue. I think they got a good defense, which they've relied on a lot.
Yeah.
And so I think as long as we can get our offense going, but again with Pat
Yep.
and Tyreek, the performance last week, I mean, if we can pick up where we left off and shore up a few things,
Yep.
I'm not too worried about Tua taking over.
It's Patrick. We don't want Mrs. Mom to get mad at us.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
right. His mom's
Patrick.
going to be coming after you now.
Yeah, I think the thing I'm looking forward to most is just Brian Flores. I think he's done such a fantastic job of turning that organization around from a perennial loser to a pretty solid
Quickly,
team,
too.
right? Yeah.
Very.
And when he took that job, I figured it would take a couple years, but I mean, it's just that culture he brings, that Patriot way, that defensive focused football. And then again, seeing Tua, we'll see him a lot, just in the AFC coming up. But again, I agree with you, Bryce. I don't think he's proven yet. I think he's having his Kyler Murray year where he's just getting his feet wet, and no one even thought he'd play this year, honestly.
True.
So yeah, it'll be cool to see a first look at him. We got so many awesome young quarterbacks in this league.
Yeah, we do.
Justin Herbert in our own division, Drew Lock, Tua, and then we got Kyler and Lamar, and there's a lot of really good young talent. Obviously, we've got the cream of the crop of this whole league.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
I think it'll be fun
Yeah.
to start seeing a couple of these guys.
And as I was thinking about this week, Bryce, you gave me some good creative juices. His car's getting worked on in the shop right now. So my 3 keys to victory. The first one was last year, Miami was tanking for Tua. Well, this year we're going to unleash the tank on Tua. We're going to get Frank Clark out there. We're going to get Chris Jones out there.
like it.
We're going to put that rookie under pressure, and he's going to make mistakes. The second thing about this game is we need to warm up the engine early. Our offense right now, last week, just couldn't get it going. The defense had to get the momentum first for the offense to perform. We can't do that leading into the playoffs. So, Patrick, get out there and do your thing early. And then lastly, you took my last point, relive the past. Chiefs play well in Miami. We know what to do. Let's get out there and do it. So, of
course.
I'm excited.
Of course. So that moves into score predictions. Last week, shout out to TJ Roberts. He predicted 21-19 and thought it would be a really close game. Yeah. So I don't know. I might need to hit you up for these predictions moving forward. But I didn't update the scores. We'll do that next week. But what are you guys' score predictions for this week?
I'll say 27-14.
Okay.
I like it.
Good defensive.
We're hang some points. I think it's time to get going. I say 35-24 Chiefs.
Okay. I'm going to stick with what I had last week because this is the week where they're going to put up 38 again. So 38-21 Chiefs.
I'm going to go 31 to let's go 17.
Okay.
I think it'll be a quick game, like a quick offensive start, and then kind of slow down towards the end.
Sure.
Or we may hang 20 plus points in the first half, and then slow down. It's just how Andy Reid operates, man.
Chiefs way, huh?
Yeah. You guys got any closing points before you wrap things up, though?
No, it's been fun. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, yeah. Appreciate it.
It's been a good time. Well, that does it for week 14 of Talkin' Chop. Whether you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple, make sure to follow us along all season. Got a lot of cool people coming up for the end of the year.
Yep.
With a Hail Mary we might try to accomplish as well for the playoffs. But, yeah, Casey and Bryce, thanks for being with us this week. It was an awesome time. Thanks for chopping it up with us. But we'll catch you all next week. And as always,
Go Chiefs.